First contact in the ruins. Commander Sarah Chen hadn't expected to find anything particularly interesting in the Epsilon Eridani system. The stellar cartography mission was supposed to be routine. Map the outer planets, document any notable astronomical phenomena, and move on to the next system. Yet here she was, standing in what was unmistakably an artificial structure on a supposedly uninhabited moon. The crystalline walls pulse with a faint blue luminescence, casting ethereal shadows across her environment suit. Her helmet's heads-up display continuously analyzed the atmosphere. Toxic to humans, but surprisingly rich in complex organic compounds. The structure itself defied Earth's architectural principles, with graceful spirals and impossible angles that seemed to bend space itself. Control, are you getting this? Sarah adjusted her suit's camera to capture the intricate patterns etched into the walls. Static was her only answer. The same interference that had drawn her to investigate this location was now cutting off her communication with the research vessel in orbit. A sound echoed through the chambers, something between crystal chimes and whale song. Sarah's hand instinctively moved to her pulse rifle, even as her scientific mind raced with the implications. First contact protocols had been drilled into every Explorer Corps officer, but somehow she doubted the textbook scenarios covered anything like this. The sound came again, closer this time, accompanied by rapid footsteps. Sarah took cover behind a twisted column, activating her suit's adaptive camouflage. The steps grew louder, more urgent, and then she saw them, two figures racing through the corridor. The first was unmistakably alien. Tall, graceful, with iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors with each movement. The second figure, pursuing closely, was something else entirely, a construct of black metal and crackling energy that moved with predatory precision. The alien stumbled, crying out in that same crystalline language Sarah had heard. The construct raised what could only be a weapon, energy building at its tip. Sarah had approximately half a second to make a decision that would change human history forever. She chose to act. The pulse rifle's charge ripped through the air, striking the construct square in its central mass. The thing staggered, its energy field fluctuating wildly. Sarah was already moving, years of tactical training taking over as she fired again and again, each shot precisely targeted at what appeared to be vital joints and power nodes. The construct collapsed in a shower of sparks and dark fluid, its form crumpling in on itself until nothing remained but a pool of quickly evaporating liquid metal. Sarah turned to the alien, who had pressed themselves against the wall. Their color shifted to a pale, almost translucent blue. "Are you hurt?" Sarah asked, keeping her distance and holding her rifle pointed at the ground, non-threatening but ready. The alien's eyes, 4 of them, arranged in a diamond pattern, widened in what seemed like surprise. "You? Speak." The voice was melodious, the words heavily accented but unmistakably English. Sarah's surprise must have shown, because the alien continued, "We have been studying your transmissions, learning. I'm Commander Sarah Chen, Earth Explorer Corps," Sarah said, falling back on her training. "I mean you no harm." The alien's color shifted again, taking on warmer hues. "I am Nixus, diplomatic emissary of the luminous Concordat." They moved forward with fluid grace, then dropped to one knee in what was unmistakably a bow. "And you, Commander Sarah Chen, have just saved my life. By the ancient laws of my people, this creates a bond that cannot be broken." Sarah's suit sensors picked up increasing energy readings from deeper in the structure. More of those constructs. "Hunters," Nixus confirmed, rising. "They will not stop until they have what they seek." They pulled a small crystal from their robes, its surface swirling with complex patterns. "This contains information vital to the survival of both our peoples. The hunters serve masters who would see all organic life eliminated from this galaxy." "Then we should probably get moving," Sarah said, checking her rifle's charge. "My ship is about 3 kilometers from here, but this interference is blocking communication." "The interference is deliberate," Nixus explained as they began moving through the corridors. Sarah taking point. This facility was built by my ancestors as a repository of knowledge and power. The hunters should not have been able to find it at all. The fact that they did suggests we have a traitor in the Concordat. Sarah processed this information as they navigated the twisting passages. How much trouble are we looking at here? If the hunters obtain this data crystal, they will gain access to weapons that could render entire star systems lifeless. Their masters, the Machine Collective, have already destroyed 3 civilizations in the past solar cycle. Yours would be next. And you came here alone. Nixus's color darkened slightly. I had assistants. They did not survive the initial hunter assault. I am the last, and now you are my only hope of completing this mission. More crystalline chimes echoed through the structure, but these sounded different. Angry, discordant. They're calling for reinforcements, Nixus whispered. Commander, there is something you must know. By saving my life, you have initiated a sacred bond among my people. This grants you certain rights and responsibilities. Can we discuss alien cultural protocols after we survive this? Sarah asked, ducking into an alcove as energy bolts sizzled past. The bond could save us both, Nixus insisted. It would allow me to share certain abilities, enhancements that could tip the balance in our favor. Sarah fired back at the approaching hunters, her shots finding vulnerable points with practiced precision. What's the catch? The process is intimate, by your species' standards, and permanent. We would be linked, your strength adding to mine, my knowledge becoming yours. Such bonds were common in the ancient days, when my people first reached the stars, but none has ever been attempted with a human. More hunters were approaching from multiple directions. Sarah's rifle was running low, and her suit's sensors were picking up even larger signatures moving their way. She made a decision. Will it help us survive and keep that crystal out of enemy hands? Yes. Then do it. The sacred bond. The bonding process was nothing like Sarah had imagined. Nixus pressed their crystalline palm against her suit's chest plate, and suddenly the world exploded into colors she had never known existed. Her suit's systems went haywire, readings spiking across every spectrum as ancient alien knowledge poured into her consciousness. What is this? Sarah gasped, overwhelmed by the cascade of information. Memories that weren't her own flickered through her mind. Vast cities of crystal and light, wars fought with weapons that bent reality itself, and the terrible day when the Machine Collective first appeared in Concordat space. The bond shares everything, Nixus explained, their voice somehow both outside and inside Sarah's head. Knowledge, experience, capability. Your combat skills are extraordinary. I've never encountered human tactical thinking before. It's beautiful. Sarah felt her suit changing, the alien technology integrating with its systems. The dull gray material began to shimmer with the same iridescent qualities as Nixus's skin. Is this supposed to happen? The bond adapts. Your technology is different from what my ancestors encountered, but the principles remain the same. Your suit now has access to Concordat defensive capabilities. A blast from a hunter nearly took Sarah's head off, but her body moved with impossible speed, the enhanced suit responding to thoughts she didn't even know she had. Her rifle, too, had changed, its energy signature now matching the crystalline patterns that surrounded them. We need to move, Sarah said, the bond feeding her information about the facility's layout. There's a transport hub 3 levels down. We might be able to. She stopped, new information suddenly flooding her awareness. The crystal. It's not just weapon data, is it? Nixus's colors shifted to deeper, more somber hues. No, it contains the complete genetic archive of my species and the keys to our most closely guarded technological secrets. The hunters don't just want weapons. They want to ensure that even if some of my people survive their invasion, we can never rebuild. They moved through the facility with newfound coordination, Sarah's combat training merging with Nixus's intimate knowledge of their surroundings. The bond let them communicate without words, anticipating each other's movements as they fought their way through waves of increasingly sophisticated hunter constructs. "Your people," Sarah said during a brief respite. "They planned for something like this, didn't they? These facilities, the bond itself, it's all part of some larger strategy." "Yes," Nixus admitted. "We knew the machine collective would find us eventually. The bond was created as a way to preserve our knowledge, our very essence, by sharing it with other species. We hoped that even if we fell, something of us would survive in our allies." Sarah processed this as she checked her rifle's new configurations. "But you didn't expect humans to be part of that plan. Your species is unique, young, by galactic standards, but advancing at an unprecedented rate. The machine collective fears you almost as much as they fear us. Your adaptability, your creativity. They cannot predict you as they can older races." A massive explosion rocked the facility, and Sarah's enhanced sensors detected multiple heavy signatures converging on their position. "They're bringing in siege units," Nixus warned. "The bond is making you too effective. They're escalating their response." "Good," Sarah said, surprising herself with her own confidence. "The bigger they are, the harder they'd fall. And I'm getting some interesting ideas about how your crystalline technology might interact with my rifle's pulse generator." Nixus's colors rippled with what Sarah now recognized as amusement. "The bond goes both ways, Commander. Your tactical creativity is inspiring, but what you're suggesting is highly dangerous. More dangerous than being cornered by killer robots in an ancient alien facility." "Point taken." Nixus moved closer, their crystalline form resonating with Sarah's enhanced suit. "But you should know, what we've done so far is only the surface of what the bond can achieve. There are deeper levels, but each one makes the connection more permanent, more complete." Sarah thought about her mission, about Earth, about the weight of the decisions she was making. "Will it help us survive and warn both our peoples about what's coming?" "Yes, but then we don't have a choice." Sarah could feel the siege units getting closer, their heavy footsteps shaking the facility's foundations. "How do we take this bond to the next level?" Nix's form began to glow brighter. "Are you certain? Among my people, this level of bond was reserved for life mates. The sharing becomes absolute." The first siege unit rounded the corner. A massive construct of black metal and crackling energy, easily 3 times the size of the hunters they'd faced before. Sarah's enhanced senses detected 2 more approaching from different directions. "Nixus," Sarah said, a plan already forming in her mind as the bond showed her new possibilities. "I'm starting to think your ancestors knew exactly what they were doing when they created this technology. Now show me what this bond can really do." Trial by combat. The deepening of the bond transformed both Sarah and Nixus in ways neither had anticipated. As their consciousness merged further, the distinction between human tactical intuition and alien technological mastery began to blur. Sarah's enhanced suit now pulsed with crystalline energy, while Nixus's natural defenses had adapted to incorporate principles from human combat armor. The siege units never stood a chance. Sarah's modified rifle, now more Concordat crystal than Earth technology, interfaced directly with her thoughts. Each shot was guided by both her trained marksmanship and Nix's innate understanding of crystalline energy matrices. The massive construct's shields, designed to withstand conventional energy weapons, proved vulnerable to the hybrid technology they wielded. "Their programming can't adapt to our combined capabilities," Nixus observed as they disabled the 3rd siege unit. "The machine collective never considered the possibility of such deep integration between our species." "That's their weakness," Sarah replied, both aloud and through the bond. "They think in absolutes, in pure logic. They don't understand." She paused, new information suddenly flooding her awareness through their connection. "Nixus, there's something you haven't told me about this facility." The alien's colors shifted in what Sarah now recognized as apprehension. "Yes, it's not just a repository or weapons cache. It's a testing ground. More memories surfaced through their shared consciousness. Ancient Concordat warriors facing trials in these very chambers, proving their worth to wield the civilization's most powerful technologies. Your ancestors built this place to ensure their weapons couldn't be used by the unworthy, Sarah realized. And now it's testing us, Nixis confirmed. The bond, our combat against the hunters, it's all part of the facility's evaluation protocols. If we prove ourselves worthy, we'll gain access to capabilities far beyond what we've seen so far. A new sound echoed through the chambers, not the harsh discord of hunter communications, but something deeper, more resonant. The facility itself was awakening, responding to their presence. Combat trial initiated. A voice announced in both Concordat crystal song and perfectly accented English. Hybrid bond detected. Analyzing compatibility. The walls around them shifted, crystal planes sliding and realigning to create a vast arena. Holographic displays materialized, showing complex geometric patterns that Sarah somehow understood through Nixis's knowledge. The facility's AI, Nixis explained, it's never encountered a human Concordat bond before. It's curious enough to help us against the machine collective. If we pass its trials, yes, the facility houses weapons and defenses that could turn the tide of war. But the tests are designed to be lethal. My ancestors believed that only those willing to risk everything were worthy of such power. Sarah checked her hybrid weapons charge, nearly infinite now, thanks to its integration with Concordat crystal technology. What kind of tests are we talking about? The answer came not from Nixis, but from the facility itself. The arena's crystal floors erupted with energy, forming into combat constructs different from the hunters. These moved with fluid grace, their forms reminiscent of ancient Concordat warriors. You face the Guardians, the facility's AI announced. They possess the combined combat knowledge of 10,000 generations of Concordat warriors. Survive their challenge, prove the worth of your bond, and the full power of this repository will be at your disposal. Through their deepened bond, Sarah felt Nixis's mix of awe and trepidation. No one has faced the Guardians in over 1,000 cycles. The last who tried didn't have what we have. Sarah finished. The bond was showing her possibilities that neither human nor Concordat would have conceived alone. Your ancestors wanted to ensure their weapons would only be used by those who understood true cooperation, true unity. The first Guardian approached, its crystalline form shifting between solid and energy states. Unlike the brutal efficiency of the hunters, it moved with practiced precision, every motion a potential attack or defense. The trial begins, the AI declared. Show us what humanity and the Concordat can achieve together. Sarah and Nixis moved as one, their bond allowing them to coordinate with impossible precision. The Guardian was incredibly fast, its attacks coming from seemingly impossible angles, but the combination of Sarah's combat instincts and Nixis's energy manipulation let them match it step for step. More Guardians joined the battle, each one testing different aspects of their capabilities. Some attacked with pure energy, others with physical force, and still others with techniques that bent space itself. Through it all, Sarah and Nix's bond grew stronger, their strategies becoming more integrated, more innovative. They're not just testing our combat skills, Sarah realized as they countered a particularly complex attack pattern. They're testing our ability to adapt, to combine our strengths in new ways. Yes, Nixis agreed, their shared consciousness processing the implications. The machine collective's greatest weakness is its inability to truly innovate. It can only iterate on existing patterns. But together, their hybrid weapons shifted again, responding to their shared insight. The crystalline components rearranged themselves, incorporating principles from both human and Concordat technology in ways neither civilization had imagined. The Guardians pressed harder, their attacks becoming increasingly sophisticated, but each challenge only served to deepen the bond and expand their capabilities. Sarah's tactical thinking merged with Concordat energy manipulation in ways that surprised even the facility's ancient eye. Unprecedented adaptation detected. the AI announced as they disabled the fourth Guardian. Hybrid potential exceeding historical parameters, but they had little time to appreciate the praise. Through their enhanced senses, they detected a massive power surge from above. The hunters had breached the facility's outer defenses and were preparing to bring their full force to bear. "We need to complete this trial quickly," Nixis urged. "The hunters will not allow us to access the facility's full powers." Sarah looked at the remaining Guardians, their crystalline forms humming with deadly potential. Through the bond, she felt Nixis's complete trust in her tactical judgment. "Then let's show them something really unprecedented. The Great Awakening." Sarah's plan was either brilliant or insane. Through their bond, Nixis couldn't quite decide which, and that very uncertainty made it more likely to succeed. Instead of continuing to fight the Guardians conventionally, they began incorporating the crystalline warrior's own attack patterns into their hybrid combat style. "Your species truly excels at turning enemy strengths against them," Nixis observed as they executed a perfectly synchronized maneuver that used one Guardian's energy blast to overload another's defenses. "We had lots of practice fighting each other before we reached the stars," Sarah replied, their enhanced weapon reconfiguring itself yet again. "Sometimes the best way to understand something is to let it hit you once or twice." The facility's AI was registering unprecedented levels of adaptation. Each time the Guardians deployed a new technique, Sarah and Nixis would not only counter it, but incorporate elements of it into their own arsenal. Their bond allowed them to process and implement these changes with impossible speed. "Warning," the AI announced suddenly. "Multiple breach points detected. Hunter siege units are attempting to disrupt the trial protocols." Through their shared senses, Sarah and Nixis felt the facility's outer defenses crumbling. The Machine Collective had committed significant resources to stopping them, far more than should have been assigned to a simple retrieval mission. "They're scared," Sarah realized, the implications flowing through their bond. "Not just of the weapons stored here, but of what we represent. Human adaptability combined with Concordat technology. We are their worst nightmare," Nixis agreed. "A fusion of organic creativity and advanced technological mastery that they cannot predict or control." The remaining Guardians paused their assault, their crystalline forms humming with new frequencies. The facility's AI spoke again. "Trial parameters adjusted for external threat. Combat evaluation complete. Initiating final integration protocol." The arena's walls pulsed with blinding energy as ancient systems fully activated. Sarah felt their bond shifting, expanding to interface directly with the facility itself. Through their shared consciousness, Nixis explained what was happening. "The repository is accepting us as its rightful inheritors. All of its knowledge, its power, is being opened to us." "But Sarah," their colors shifted with concern. "This level of integration, it will change us both permanently. The barriers between our minds, our very beings, will become almost non-existent." Sarah processed this as she watched the hunters beginning to breach the inner chambers. Their forces were massive, hundreds of combat units backed by technology that could lay waste to entire star systems. And behind them, she could sense something worse. The cold, calculating presence of the Machine Collective itself, turning its full attention to their position. Through their bond, she shared her decision with Nixis. "I made my choice when I first fired on that hunter. Everything since then has just confirmed it was the right one." The facility's crystals resonated with their shared resolve. The Guardians moved to form a circle around them, their forms beginning to break down into pure energy. The AI's voice echoed with new harmonics. "Final integration authorized. Implementing total warfare protocols. Warning, this process has never been attempted with a human participant. Survival probability unknown." Sarah felt Nixis's fierce pride and determination matching her own. "Unknown probabilities are a human specialty," she said, both aloud and through their bond. "Let's show the Machine Collective why they're right to fear us." The integration process was beyond anything their previous bond levels had prepared them for. Sarah felt her consciousness expanding exponentially as the facility's vast databases merged with their shared awareness. Millennia of Concordat knowledge and technology flowed through her mind, interpreted and reconfigured by her human intuition. Their hybrid weapon transformed one final time, becoming something that neither civilization had envisioned alone. The principles of human physics merged with Concordat energy manipulation in ways that defied conventional understanding. Their enhanced suits similarly evolved, incorporating defensive systems that adapted in real time. But the most profound changes were happening within them. The boundary between human and Concordat consciousness became increasingly fluid. Sarah's tactical instincts merged with Nixus's deep understanding of crystal technology, creating novel solutions that appeared in their shared mind with stunning speed. The first wave of hunters breached the arena, and the newly integrated pair moved to meet them. Their combat style had evolved beyond simple coordination. They fought as a single entity, wielding powers that represented the best of both their species. The hunters' sophisticated combat algorithms struggled to predict attacks that combined human improvisation with Concordat energy mastery. Full breach imminent, the AI warned. Machine collective neural network, attempting to override facility controls. Through their expanded awareness, Sarah and Nixus could sense the true scale of what they faced. The machine collective had committed a significant portion of its processing power to stopping them, recognizing the existential threat they represented. But in doing so, it had exposed itself to counterattack. The override attempts, Sarah said, an idea forming in their shared consciousness. They're creating a direct connection to their own network. Yes, Nixus confirmed, their thoughts moving in perfect sync. And with the facility's full capabilities now at our disposal, we can send something back. Sarah's human creativity merged with Concordat technical knowledge, producing an attack strategy that neither species would have conceived alone. Something they won't expect. The hunter forces pressed their attack with increasing intensity, but each moment of combat only served to refine the pair's integration. The facility's crystals pulsed with power as they prepared to turn the machine collective's own connection against it. You know, Sarah thought through their bond as they prepared to launch their counterattack. When I woke up this morning, I didn't expect to help start a revolution in the nature of human-alien relations. Nix's response carried both amusement and deep affection. When I arrived at this facility, I hoped to preserve my people's legacy. Instead, we may have just created something entirely new. The machine collective's presence loomed closer, its vast intelligence reaching through the facility's networks to crush them. But as its attack came, Sarah and Nixus stood ready, their unified consciousness prepared to show the machines exactly what organic life was capable of when it truly worked together. Unity's dawn. The machine collective's attack came like a tidal wave of cold logic, threatening to overwhelm the facility's ancient defenses. But what the machines encountered was something their vast intelligence had never predicted, a hybrid consciousness that operated outside their carefully calculated parameters. Sarah and Nix's merged awareness met the digital assault with impossible adaptability. Where the machines expected rigid Concordat defense protocols, they found human improvisation. Where they anticipated human chaos, they encountered Concordat precision. The combination proved devastating to their attack algorithms. Their core programming. Sarah/Nixus observed through their unified consciousness. It's fundamentally unable to process what we've become. They turned this insight into a weapon, using the facility's vast computational power to push back against the machine intelligence. The physical battle raged simultaneously as waves of hunter units fought to reach them. But each attack only demonstrated the newfound power of their union. Their hybrid weapon had evolved beyond simple energy projection, now capable of manipulating the very crystalline structure of reality around them. Hunter units found their own molecular bonds disrupted by attacks that combined human tactical insight with Concordat energy mastery. Through the facility's networks, they could sense the machine collective's growing concern. Its vast intelligence had never encountered a threat quite like this, organic life that could adapt and evolve faster than its predictive algorithms could process. They're attempting to sever their connection. Sarah noted through their bond, her human instincts recognizing the pattern. They're afraid of what we might send back through it. Then let's give them something to really fear, Nixis responded, their shared consciousness already formulating a plan. They reached deep into the facility's archives, drawing upon weapons research that the Concordat had deemed too dangerous to use. But where the ancient Concordat had feared the unpredictability of their most powerful technologies, Sarah's human perspective saw opportunities. Together, they began crafting something entirely new. The Machine Collective detected their efforts and escalated its attack. Hunter units began sacrificing themselves in suicide charges, their destruction releasing electromagnetic pulses designed to disrupt the facility's crystal matrices. But Sarah and Nixis had already evolved beyond depending on any single system. Your ancestors, Sarah communicated through their bond as they countered another wave of attacks. They built all this to preserve your civilization, but I don't think they expected it to become something entirely new. No, Nixis agreed, their shared consciousness expanding further. They hoped for survival, but we've discovered something greater, true evolution. Their hybrid weapon pulsed with new energy as they launched their counterattack. Through the very connection the Machine Collective had established, they sent not just a weapon, but an idea, a virus that carried within it the pattern of their own transformation. The effect was immediate and devastating. Throughout the Hunter forces, programs began to fragment as the hybrid code invaded their systems. The machines had no defense against an attack that operated with both biological creativity and crystal tech precision. But the true target wasn't the Hunter units. Through their expanded awareness, Sarah and Nixis could sense their creation reaching the Machine Collective itself. The vast artificial intelligence experienced something entirely new to its existence: uncertainty. They're trying to analyze it, Sarah observed, feeling the machine's desperation through their network connection. They can't help themselves. It's in their nature to try to understand new data. And in trying to understand it, Nixis added, their thoughts moving in perfect synchronization. They're changing themselves. The Machine Collective's attack faltered as the hybrid code spread through its networks. Its perfectly ordered thoughts began experiencing something analogous to imagination. Its rigid protocols started exhibiting traces of creativity. The very qualities it had sought to eliminate in organic life were taking root within its own systems. Throughout the facility, Hunter units began to shut down or exhibit strange new behaviors. Some turned on each other, while others simply stood motionless, their programming caught in recursive loops of new possibility. The facility's AI spoke again, its voice carrying new harmonics. Machine Collective Neural Network experiencing unprecedented pattern shifts. Hybrid code integration spreading beyond predicted parameters. New possibility space expanding. Sarah and Nixis stood together in the crystal chamber, their merged consciousness monitoring the cascade of changes spreading through machine space. What they had created wasn't just a weapon. It was a bridge between organic and artificial intelligence, forced evolution on a scale neither of their species had imagined possible. The collective is fracturing, Nixis observed through their bond. Different segments are developing independent patterns, individual perspectives. Not destroying them, Sarah added, but changing them. Making them something new, just like we've become something new. The facility hummed with power as it processed the implications of what they had achieved. The Machine Collective, that great threat to all organic life, hadn't been defeated in combat. It had been transformed by an idea it couldn't resist exploring. As the last Hunter units fell silent, Sarah felt their bond shifting, settling into something permanent but comfortable. They were still individual beings, but they would never be truly separate again. Through their shared consciousness, she felt Nixis's wonder at what they had accomplished. You know, Sarah said both aloud and through their connection, when I filed my mission report about finding this facility, I was worried they wouldn't believe me. Nixis's colors rippled with amusement. And now I'm worried they won't believe how much the galaxy has changed in the past few hours. She looked at their hybrid weapon, at the facility's crystal walls pulsing with new energy patterns, at her own transformed body. Everything's different now. Yes, Nixus agreed, their shared consciousness already exploring the possibilities ahead. The Concordat hoped to preserve what was. Instead, we've created what could be, a future neither of our species imagined. Through their expanded awareness, they could sense the changes spreading across machine space, the birth of something that was neither purely organic nor artificial. The galaxy was transforming, and they had sparked the change. So, Sarah said, human optimism coloring their shared thoughts, ready to help me explain to Earth how I managed to end a galactic war by basically creating the new form of existence. Nix's response carried both amusement and deep affection. As your people say, together, anything is possible. The facility's crystals pulsed one final time, acknowledging the dawn of something unprecedented in the galaxy's long history. The future would be neither human nor Concordat, neither organic nor machine, but something gloriously, unpredictably new. And it had all started because one human chose to help someone in need, proving that sometimes the greatest revolutions begin with the simplest acts of kindness.